It's been a crazy 48 hours, or even a little bit more so, since the Super League was announced. Um, I didn't do a reaction or a review to Leeds versus Liverpool because I'll be totally honest with you, I decided not to watch it. Uh, I wasn't in a good frame of mind to watch it. I've given the rundown before, but whenever I normally watch a Liverpool match, the half an hour beforehand, butterflies start kicking in, start getting a bit nervous, but it's a little bit exciting as well, getting to watch the team. Some may say should have tuned in to watch the team. I just couldn't. It got 5 minutes before kickoff, and I just couldn't watch the game. Just wasn't in a good place to watch the game. And I feel that a lot of other people felt the same way as well when you browse through social media and you see people that openly say, and it's nothing against the players, but were openly saying that they didn't celebrate a great deal that Sadio Mane had scored a goal. A player that has struggled recently as well, and he scored a goal. It was great, fantastic from what everyone was saying, but no one felt anything because at that point everything felt really final. Everything felt like this Super League was going to happen, and we weren't really playing for anything. I don't think that the players had that mentality. I think they did the best that they could. Apparently, the first half was good. The second half wasn't. It ended 1-1. It is what it is. I can't give you any other insight into the game than that. When we talk about the Super League, it looked dangerous. Everybody was scared of what was going to happen. When there was threats about they were going to take titles away, achievements away that our club had earned, not knowing how far back they were going to take these sanctions, possibly get kicked out of the Premier League. You get kicked out of being able to participate in any of the UEFA competitions like the Champions League, the Europa League, and such like that as well. Where does it then leave you? You're then coupled with this other set of, other 11 clubs, as we were a founding club of the 12, other 11 clubs. Maybe there was going to be 15 clubs. There was meant to be another three that were going to participate in this Super League as well. What happens then? Does Liverpool just become a bankroll and it just becomes a source of endless money, which is what it sounded like this was going to be. Like it was going to be an endless source of money. Everybody, no matter what, no matter where you finish, no matter if you finish bottom of this Super League or if you won this Super League, you probably get more if you win it. But if you were just in the Super League, you automatically get 350 million every year. It was just a money grab. That's all it was. It wasn't about football. It wasn't about the fans. It wasn't about sporting merit, which is pretty much everything that most sports, if not all sports, are built on. It's sporting merit. You earn the right to play. You go back 10 years ago when we were really, really struggling. We had Roy Hodgson in charge of us. We hadn't earned any merit to imagine if that was today and we were, say, in a similar sort of position. We're in the bottom half of the league. Okay? In the bottom half of the league, but it's okay. Don't worry about it because we've got another Super League that's going to give us a load of money and we're in that no matter what because we're a founder. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. I don't really know what else to say because it was just shocking that Liverpool would go down this sort of route. You can go back and you can go pull up, all of these Bill Shankly quotes and stuff like that, and they're great. They're fantastic. They're great words to live by and things that really, in the modern game especially, it's something that you can grab onto and you can live by. You could take some of those words into your own life and apply them there because they were such good moral words that meant something. It's about the people. It's about the fans. It's about the passion. It's about the sport of competition, sporting merit, competition, and earning the right, earning your rewards, earning first division titles or a Premier League, earning European Cups or Champions League, whatever you want to call it, domestic cups, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever it might have been called. It's had that many different names as the Carabao Cup. It's about earning it, not just being there as like a participant and getting like a participant reward. Oh, don't worry, you didn't win. There's 350 million. It then doesn't make it doesn't make it fair for any other. Say if Liverpool were able to continue, and the other six clubs as well. I know I'm talking about Liverpool, but I am a Liverpool fan. If we're talking about the other six clubs as well in the Premier League that were the big six as well, that were taking part in this Super League, getting this amount of money between all six clubs. Okay, so what we're looking at there, about 2.1 billion between six clubs every year, 350 million per club, right? And then you got 14 clubs in the Premier League that are going to be there. Just like, how are we meant to compete? You can't. You could say you can, and you could have Leicester stories happen much less, much less, and much less likely to have happened as well. 48 hours later, we are here on Wednesday. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm recording this. Just arrived home from work. Had some time to digest some things as well. And I've just watched John Henry's apology as well. Now, I'll give it to you straight. As far as apologies go, it's a decent apology. It's a decent apology. It seems in a way like it's in some way heartfelt, or he's a good actor. One of the two. Whichever way you take it, the words and the way it's delivered are good. There's a couple of words in there that we can take issue with. And the main one that people are obviously picking out is when he turns around and says, if anything that this pandemic has shown us is how crucial the fans are to our club, to our sport, and all sports around the world. When 48 hours earlier, whatever you signed up to in the Super League was absolutely nothing to take into consideration the thoughts and feelings and beliefs of the fans. Because make no mistake, no set of fans have ever just sat there, or any fan base, no one had sat there and just gone, what would be really good for football? Let's get all of the big teams in some cases. Let's get all the big teams. Let's group them all up and put them into a league where they can't get relegated from. Always in it. Yeah, there's going to be loads of money just for us. No fan ever thought of doing that. No one's ever asked for that. So to turn around and say when we're trying to do everything that we do is in the interests of the fans, you failed in this respect. Big time. Now, FSG, John Henry himself, says, our work here is not done. What that suggests to me is that he has absolutely no intention of selling the club. Whether he should or not, that's up to you to decide. I'm not going to decide that for you. In my opinion, knowing what we went through with Hicks and Gillett, or Hicks and Gillett, however you say it, knowing what we went through with those guys, it's going to be exceptionally difficult for FSG to come back and get the fans back on side. It is going to be nigh on impossible. And I think it's going to be similar, maybe less so for Chelsea, maybe less so for Man City, because they will be seen as the guys that started coming out of the Super League, but they also signed up to it as well. But regardless, people seem to be much more eyeballing the American owners, Stan Kroenke, or Kroenke, the Glazers at Manchester United, and FSG here as well. Daniel Levy to a point as well. He's getting a bit more scrutiny in some other areas as well, because obviously they've just got a huge, massive stadium, which apparently costs in excess of $1 billion. Don't quote me on that though, because that is just thinking off the top of my head of figures that I've heard, and people are now putting two and two together. It's like, well, of course he stayed. Of course he didn't buy players. Of course he's kept hold of Tottenham, because he knew that at some point this Super League was going to come in, and he'd be able to take the money from there, pay off the stadium, and then bank, keep some for either, not for himself, But for Tottenham, and maybe invest in players and stuff like that, and that's where the investment for Tottenham was going to come in. Similar sort of thing could be said for Liverpool as well, because we were putting in planning permission for one of our stands. Can't remember what the name of it was, to get another extension to make Anfield bigger again. Whether that was going to be more expensive or not, I don't know. Some people say that the only way that FSG can appease to the fans is major investment in the summer. For me, that's too easy. There needs to be some serious. If FSG are going to look and they're not going to sell the club and they want to work to get the fans back on side, they have to do some serious work to get the fans involved. Which it doesn't just mean go out there and sign and Haaland and Mbappe all at the same time and go and buy all the best players. That's not what it's about. It's about actually going to be about getting involved with the supporters groups, maybe getting involved with the content creators, like the guys like the Redmen TV, who seem to have the most availability of when they've been able to talk to Jurgen Klopp when he's been on pre-season tours and stuff, talking to the players, talking to club legends like Carragher and such like. And there's been a nice one that they've done quite recently where they've talked to legends of the club, going through like older legends as well, not just like the Carragher sort of generation, going back further as well. And that was really, really good. Giving people like these guys a bit more access, a bit more, I don't just mean access for content, but also to be able to, and likes of Spirit of Shankly to have more of a voice. Because I think the thing that's getting lost here as well, a lot of it, all of us pulling out of the Super League, it's great, it's fantastic, and I'm glad that it's happened. A couple more teams, I think Inter Milan, AC Milan, someone else, I can't remember. I think Atletico Madrid were the La Liga one. Real Madrid and Barcelona are currently trying to hang on to it, as are Juventus. They think it can run. They're hanging on to the idea of it. They think it's a good idea to do the Super League. That's up to them. I'm not going to offer an opinion on them. But having these clubs all pulling out and stuff like that, it's clubs that are looking at their fan bases and basically just going, shit, we've dropped the ball massively here. We should have consulted with fans. We should have gone, hey, listen, next week, or maybe even do a bit more planning, because clearly this has been planned in for quite a while. Maybe go and talk to the supporters groups, do public forums and stuff like that. Things that you don't want to do as a billionaire, you've got to go and talk to your people, right? If you don't do that, you're going to get a backlash like this, right? Now, a lot has been praised about the fact that fans have a voice. In the media's running with that quite a bit, saying that the fans clearly still have a voice. The fans still have power against the ownership. I would say, yes, that is true. However, if every media company, if one of UEFA, FIFA, or the Premier League, if they agreed with the Super League, how much power would the fans have had? We're unable to tell if that would have happened. So say if like Sky Sports and Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, all these guys, say if they weren't as disgusted and vocal as they were, and say if FIFA or UEFA turned around and said, okay, let's try and embrace the Super League, would the fans have had the power? In my opinion, it might sound negative, because obviously I'm glad that we've got the outcome that we've got, but moving forward, we can't just presume that we have power because of this. We had power because we were backed by higher powers. And I don't mean that to sound biblical, but higher powers, Sky Sports were behind it, BT were behind it, everybody was so vocal about it, it had to become abolished. And then obviously the players came out. I was so proud to see last night, because I was honestly going, when I started to hear that Chelsea were pulling out and Man City were pulling out, obviously that was around like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, right? And I'm starting to trying to wind down and go to bed, because I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to work. It was difficult, and I had to go to bed. I wake up the next morning, see that Liverpool have also pulled out and everybody else has as well. I was like, great, that's fantastic. But like I say, I don't know. it would be like, to echo what Patrick Bumford said as well, and he was so spot on when he said it. When the Super League was announced on Sunday up until Tuesday night, that's how long it took for it to start and to stop. Patrick Bamford turned around and said, it's amazing the uproar that happens when someone's pocket's getting hurt. And I thought that was a really ballsy thing to say, live on TV, live on Sky, because that is at Sky, really. That is at Sky, broadcasting companies and that. It's all about, it's whatever they say, it's still all about money for those guys as well, but they don't want their money getting hurt. They don't want their money maybe getting taken away from them, having less money, having less power, having less rights to a sport that they have had rights to for a long time. And then when Patrick Bamford turned around and said it would be nice maybe if people could cause this similar type of uproar when racism happens in the game as well, which is still so prevalent in the game, if not more so because of social media. It's literally right there in players' faces. They could finish a match, score a hat-trick, get 3 assists or something like that as well, have all of that, and they can go on social media, read a DM, and it's calling them something absolutely disgusting. Nothing is getting done about that. That's what it looks like to me. People can say that things are being, steps are being made for the likes of racism and stuff like that and abuse in general. No, it isn't. I don't think it's being taken as seriously as the uproar that happened about the Super League. The Super League uproar literally went from 0 to 60, 0 to 100, literally within seconds. Big companies were behind it, but other things like racism that's been in the game since, go back as far as you want, and it's still in the modern game, still there, still powerful in the wrong way. I don't know. Things are just different for companies, social media companies, and all that sort of business, and for legal authorities, just when money is involved. Really is. Things are just always different. So where do we go from here? Honestly, I don't know. I think it's going to be difficult for fans to force FSG out. FSG have to be willing to sell. And then they've got to find a buyer as well. It's not a cheap venture to try and buy. They can't turn around and say, well, John Henry and FSG should sell Liverpool on the cheap. It's like, no, that's not how. No matter what has happened here, that's not how things work. As much as we might not like it, and I'll tell you, I'll put my hand on my heart right now. I was up until the weekend, up until Sunday night, I was a massive fan of FSG. Massive fan of FSG. What they brought us in terms of, the players that they were managed, how they were using money, how they were able to sell players and bring good players in that work for our system, and the way that we were able to go for the Champions League and win it, go for the Premier League and win it as well. Something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. And I was absolutely 100% for FSG. All it takes is one moment, one action to completely flip that. And that will have happened for a lot of fans. A lot of people that were for FSG, maybe harder than I was, most likely are not for FSG at the moment. There needs to be some serious rebuilding work by FSG and proactive rebuilding work, connecting with the fans. The first thing that these guys need to do, though, yes, they've done the apology video, but they need to do something for Jurgen Klopp, the management team, the coaching team, and the players, because these guys have all taken the brunt of the abuse and the comments that people on Sky Sports have made, that people on other, companies have made as well, other pundits, other legends and stuff like that, like your Gary Nevilles and that are leveling things at Liverpool. These guys face the brunt of it, and that's wrong. These guys should have been going after the owners more proactively, instead of trying to corner Jurgen Klopp, instead of trying to corner players by asking them questions that they didn't know the answers to. Because at that point, when we played Leeds, they said, we don't know all the details. We only found out last night. They only found out on the Sunday. pretty much when everybody else did. Maybe they knew before, they knew it was going to get announced, but they got thrown under the bus, and they deserved to get thrown. The owners deserved to get thrown under the bus by the players and the manager, and other managers as well. Pep Guardiola's, like, look at some of the videos that Pep Guardiola that have been posted about Pep and what he's said about the Super League and stuff like that. Powerful stuff, powerful stuff. To go against powerful owners like, you know, Man City's, like ours as well. I hope that we can move on from this, but I'm not entirely sure. I am sure, actually. I think that FSG have burnt a bridge here, and I'm not entirely sure whether they can extinguish that bridge, chop it down, rebuild it. I'm not entirely sure. It's just you did it to a fan base that have been hurt too many times in many, many different ways. It only takes one action to break, like, a long amount of trust in anything, in any walk of life. In football, it could be a personal relationship, whatever. It takes one moment, one singular moment, and this could be it for FSG. So, what do we do now? I'll probably go back to making some regular content, talking about Liverpool. We'll see if there's any other fallout that happens from this in terms of the ownership, in terms of owners in general and stuff like that. We'll talk about that at another point. Just wanted to make this video, get my thoughts out there to you guys as well. Hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you're feeling maybe a little bit more positive today than we did yesterday and the day before as well. And I just hope that you guys are doing well. Keep doing well, keep well, and look after yourselves as well. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.